What's going on? It's Mike, it's John, back again. This is your match reaction. It was Manchester City 2, Everton 0. I didn't bother doing it straight after the game because it was an early kickoff. John was only in Manchester today, so there's apart from waiting a few hours for him to get home and all the socialising that happens at away days, he was back and ready to rock and roll. John, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, if I'm being honest, because, they had like 75% possession against our 25. It was like a defence against attack. What was your thoughts on the setup today?
Listen, we spoke about this on the match preview, about how hard Everton have been to break down. And I think up until the 60th, 70th minute, when Haaland scored the first goal, I think it was, I thought Everton done a job, and I think we set up right. When we spoke about this setup last night on the match preview, Michael, it worked. Obviously, Haaland got the chance. The first goal, if I remember rightly, it was the wrong decision for the caller to be given. If I'm right in saying that, I can't really remember. But what I will say is about the setup, as you've just mentioned. Listen, I thought we'd done okay, and I think what happened, I thought we all knew what was going to happen. The way we set up, we were tough to break down. The first half, we all know City a better second half, and I'm not too disappointed, and I never thought I'd say that about getting beat 2-0. It doesn't surprise me that we got beat 2-0. But we said this last night on the match preview, Michael. We take this into West Ham and Crystal Palace and Brighton away. Then that performance that we put in the first half, that'll stand us in good stead against them teams.
Yeah, you're right. And just to go through the goal, ball, it hits both players' heads at the same time. Now, I don't know what the legal rule is, if I'm being honest, but it clearly hits both heads at the same time. They both get the ball. So I don't know whether that goes in the favour of the attacking team or the defending team. I don't know. I don't know the rules.
Well, everything goes in favour of the attacking team, and everything goes in favour of one of the top 6 teams. That's why we got it.
Yeah. So the ball comes in from the corner. It bounces around. Everton have the opportunity to clear the ball, but it's a very tight, congested penalty area. The ball ends up ricocheting from a clearance to Erling Haaland, and he finishes it really well. I mean, there's he smashes it. Pickford gets a hand to it, and if I'm being honest, I thought fair play to even getting a hand to it, because he hits it from about 6 yards at about 1,000,000 miles an hour, and Pickford still manages to get a hand on it. And the second goal, it comes from us. We're there in the final third. We're messing about with it instead of putting the ball into the box, and we're messing about on the right hand side of the box. We lose the ball. It's one clean cut pass straight through the Everton. Well, there was no midfield because they were in their half. Through the defence, Branthwaite is left essentially trying to manhandle and control Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland shrugs him off. Branthwaite ends up on the floor, and it's a sublime finish from a world-class striker, arguably the best striker or the best finisher in the world, and makes it 2-0. But, John, you're absolutely spot on. I thought it was very obvious Everton went there for a point today. And I actually have no issue with that whatsoever. And I know I've read Twitter, I've saw people in the comments, I've saw things, but Manchester City, by hook or by crook, are 1,000,000 miles away from where we are right now. We're literally like in 2 different divisions. And for us to go there and to contain them for 70 minutes, I thought was good. Everton aren't a team that can play expansive counter-attacking football at Manchester City speed. We can't do it. We can't cope. You know, we haven't got the quality of other teams like a Villa or a Newcastle or, you know, a West Ham that can actually do that against Man City and actually give them a game. We, unfortunately, are not good enough. We're almost like lambs to the slaughter. But today, those lambs were really difficult to break down. They were really aggressive when they need to be. There was some great crunching tackles from players like Ben Godfrey in the first half and Gardner in the second half. Latrissa Garnagay getting stuck in. I thought Onana, when he come on, got on the ball and tried to play a couple of forward balls. Beto scored a goal, albeit he's offside, but it's a good finish. It wasn't a negative for me today, John. It wasn't a negative. And I was going to ask, what was your thoughts when Godfrey come off? Because I thought he'd done a really good job, if I'm being honest, of Docker managing him.
Well, we spoke about this in the match preview. You know, Ben Godfrey had to get close to Doku, and I thought he'd done a really good job at him first half, up even the second half, up until he went off injured. You know, it wasn't far from us where we were sitting. I think he went down with a head injury. Then he went down again on his haunches, and I think I've seen him throw up. So obviously you can't continue. You know, you've got a head injury or whatever it was, and then you're throwing up. It changed for me when Godfrey went off. I thought the game changed. Going back to what you've just said about Haaland, I thought Branthwaite could have done better on 2 goals. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and slag Branthwaite off because he's been phenomenal for us. I thought the first one, he had an opportunity to put it in the stands. And I thought the second one, when he's running shoulder on shoulder with Haaland and he falls over, before he falls over, I think he could be stronger. You know, he got muscled off the ball there, Branthwaite, today for that second goal. I thought he could have been stronger. Does Haaland still score it? Probably, because Haaland's Haaland. I just think the 2 goals that we've conceded today, the first one, did the decision go our way? Probably not. But as you say, it always goes with the attacking team or one of the top 6 teams. We'll always talk about that. The second one, I think Branthwaite could be stronger. I think if that's Tarkowski running along with Haaland, if he can keep up with him, I think he comes out with the ball. I think he's got to be stronger there, Branthwaite.
Yeah, I think if Tarkowski or Tarkovsky, however you say his name, well, I just think Haaland ends up on the Blue Moon himself. You know, while all the Man City fans are singing it, I think he ends up on it. Because Tarkowski sends him into Pluto, mate, he'd be gone. I did think there was a couple of good moments in terms of individual skill and things today. So you've just mentioned Branthwaite, and I don't disagree with you, by the way. I think he could have done better for both goals. I think it's obvious. There was a couple of times where he did look really composed on the ball. You know, Everton weren't too scared of playing the ball around the back today, and he was comfortable on it. There was one moment where the ball was in the box and he's got 4 Manchester City players around him and just a little drag back. Looks for that pass in between all of the noise almost and plays a lovely through ball. There was James Garner. He's got 2 Manchester City players around him. He rolls his shoulder and he does a little pirouette away from both of them. Puts in a crunching tackle as well. I'm starting to see the makings of a decent young team. We've got to fix the final third. We've got to fix the final third because I thought at times today, I didn't think DCL had a bad game today. I didn't, but he could have done better holding the ball up. And I know it's difficult against, you know, Ake and Akanji and Stones. I know it's difficult, and we're asking a lot of anyone. But at times today, you need your strikers to, you know, it sounds silly, but run down a blind alley, run down a cul-de-sac, just keep the ball away from our defence. And at times today, I thought we wasn't clever enough to do that. And I think, I just think with a little bit more quality, I'm not saying we would have won the game or got a point, but I'm just saying we might have caused them a few more problems than we did, because we didn't really cause them anything.
I actually don't think we've got any quality in that final third. I put a tweet out. For me, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has taken a shirt up. He's just taken a shirt up because he gives us nothing, Michael. I was speaking to someone today. Yeah, he is isolated, as you quite rightly say. But you know, if you're isolated, put a shift in, close the defenders down, break a sweat. He jogs, and I don't see what he gives us. And again, it's not just down to him, because I think he massively misses the core, right? And it's not just pinpointing on him. I don't think anyone across that front three, final third, or whatever, yeah, give us anything. As I say, I put that tweet out. I'm fine. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, useless at the minute. And shoot me down, I don't see what him being in the team is giving us. And I just don't.
Yeah, look, I'm not disagreeing. I think the other problem is that I have is, and we said this before about Everton to recruitment. We have said this. We've said this over the years. You know, if you want to sign players who are, if you want to be a top 4 team, you go and sign players that could be top 4 players, or players that play for top 4 teams. Everton have a forward line of, yes, look, Calvert-Lewin's practically a 0 on the balance sheet. You know, we bought him young and he's done well, and whatever we sell him for is a profit. But Jack Harrison got relegated with Leeds last season. Dwight McNeil got relegated with Burnley the season before. You sit there and you think, we've seen this before. You know, when we signed Jordan Pickford, he's the one that's been the success story, but he was at Sunderland when they got relegated. You know, we signed Tarkowski, he was at Burnley, they were relegated. We signed Michael Keane, he was from Burnley, they were relegated. You know, we signed these players, and we have continued to sign these players who, they are okay Premier League players, but that's it. That is it. They are okay. Jordan Pickford is the exception, fair enough. But they are okay. I don't think Tarkowski gets in the top 10 team or top 6 team. I don't think Dwight McNeil or Jack Harrison or Calvert-Lewin do. So when you
I'll jump in here, because I was having this conversation today on the coach on the way back from City. When you go through Everton's squad, how many of them players actually do? If you've got time, let's go through it.
Well, in terms of getting into a top 6 team,
yeah.
Honestly, I think it is probably 2. I think it's 2. Honestly, I think it's 2. And even one of them is debatable.
How bad?
Even one of that's debatable. Because I'm saying that Branthwaite does, and I think he does. But the other one's Nana. And if I'm being honest, he's overhyped from players who aren't Everton fans, from fans that aren't Everton fans. So I sit there and I think, I don't know who else would get into a top 6 team in our team. And I'm not saying that everyone's rubbish, by the way. I'm not saying like a Mikalenko, for example, is a bad player at all. But to get into a top 6 team these days, you've got to be really, really, really good. And our team have weaknesses all over it.
We don't have really, really, really good players, as you've just said.
Oh, and Pickford, obviously, I think Pickford gets in top 6.
But then, in hindsight, we spoke about this on the match preview. I predicted it. We get beat 2-0. And we take that. We actually take that because the game's coming up. And we spoke about that last night. The games are coming up. We put that first half performance in today up until the 60th, 70th minute when they get the lead. against Palace, as I said this before, we're all happy, we're all smiling, because I think a performance like that against Palace and West Ham, possibly Brighton away, possibly Man U away, probably gets us something. I don't think there was any weakness in the performance today. I don't think there was any weakness in the setup or the tactics. I just think City are a different animal. And going to when we can see goals today, whether the decision went against us, as you say, the both hit heads, the ball hits the both heads at the same time, and then Brantwaite could have been stronger. We were in the game, Michael. I was there first hand. We were in the game. All right, we didn't create chances. How many saves did their keeper make? But what I will say, how many saves did Pickford make? Not many.
No, it wasn't many. No, it wasn't many. I was just going to have a little look while you've mentioned it, just to look at the stats, but it wasn't many at all. You'll be pleased to know as well, John. Obviously, the results went out kind of in our way this week. Sheffield United beat Luton. I think that was a big result for us. Brentford won, but I think Brentford are out of it now. They've got Tony, so I think Palace are right in the mix. I think Forest are in the mix, and they're currently losing. So, you know, when you look at what Manchester City achieved today, they had 3 shots on target in that game, and they scored 2 of them.
Yeah, and that's down to us, the way we set up, and we spoke about this. We spoke about that, containing them, putting that block up, as you spoke about last night, with not conceding many goals, and we've got the best defensive record and the least goals conceded this season. And it showed today that we're building on that. But listen, Man City are a tough team to contain, as we say. They've got players running at you. They get goals. They're very capable of turning it on when they did. But again, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm not too disheartened. We're getting beat 2-0.
No, I'm not too disheartened at all. And you know, a lot of people are going on about the form as well. The form overall for Everton in the last, I think it's 7 games. We've played Spurs twice. We've played Manchester City twice. We got a draw against Villa. We went a draw away at Fulham. You know, I sit there and I think, look, I get it's 3 points in 21 games, but the games that we've lost, I'm not saying I expect to lose. I'm not saying it's forgivable, but I can almost tolerate it because of the games that we've got coming up. Our games, you know, Monday night against Palace is massive. You know, going away, West Ham at home is massive. Brighton away, if you can get a point, that's a great result. You know, the games that have let me down this season are the Luton at home, the Sheffield United away, the Wolves at home, the Fulham at home. These are the games that have let me down. Not going to Manchester City and losing, and going to Spurs and losing, albeit putting in a really good performance. You know, people are hitting home about the fact that we haven't beaten Fulham or Villa, and the problem is, John, they're better than us as well. You know, there's almost like this ideology that Everton are a team that should be competing for Europe. Yes, fair enough. We would be 12th if we had 10 points now. I think it is 12th. But Jesus Christ, it's built on not great football, working really hard, keeping clean sheets, and trying to win games 1-0 or 2-1 or something. It's not like we're blowing teams away. So I think people need to almost pull it back a little bit and just go through it game by game, be more positive. You know, we go into that Palace game next week, and I am confident we win because we've beaten Palace twice this season. Just like Fulham have beaten us twice this season, I am confident that we beat Palace on Monday. All of a sudden, the season looks a little bit different again. You know, we could be 16th.
Do you know, it's funny? I was talking to someone today at half time, having a pint, and you know, the Palace game a week Monday, it brings back memories of when we stayed up under Frank Lampard. And I'm honestly feeling now this game against Palace is as big as that. This game that we play a week Monday at Palace at home is massive, absolutely massive. But you quite rightly point out today's defeat isn't as bad as what it feels because we've got these games coming up. I will ask you though, Michael, because you've reiterated on it a few times. What happens if we lose then?
Well, if it would, John, and I've said this last season, and I'll say it this season: if you lose those games, you don't deserve to be in the Premier League. Simple.
I actually, watching them today, I do feel like there's some confidence there. I feel like there was a plan there. Bearing in mind, Sean Dyche was in the stands today. I thought Woney and Stone done a good job today. So a special mention for them as well. But again, Everton were in it, and I keep saying this because the reason is I expected to go there and I'm lie down, get battered, and we didn't today. And you know what? I'll actually give the lads praise. Up until they scored the first goal, I thought Everton were right in it. I thought they put a good performance in up until the first goal. They look void of ideas the first half, Michael. I was saying this a hundred times. They look void of ideas. And I'll go back to what you quite rightly pointed out last night on the match preview. They couldn't break us down. They couldn't get past us. Goes back to how many saves did Pickford make?
Yeah,
go on.
No, my friend at work called it. So I'm really close to a lad called Tom. He's honestly he's fantastic. I love him. And we were talking about the football. We were talking about the game, and he's a Liverpool fan. So he wanted Everton to get something out of today, and he's laughed and joked. He's been to Goodison with me. I've taken him to Goodison. He's got nothing against Everton, and he was saying Man City will struggle to break you down because they can't break down low blocks. And what Everton did today fundamentally was the building blocks for any team that go to Manchester City. It's just that Everton, whether they ran out of steam, made a few mistakes, that's what happened. Everton could have got a point today.
Yeah.
It is, but it is what it is because you know what? We've got a big week, maybe a good big couple of weeks. We've got all this thing outside of the club with the PN profit and sustainability ruling, and the appeal. We've got a big game against Palace. Everton, we've got a big couple of weeks, and a lot of people always say, "Oh, Mike, you're negative on this channel," and John, you're negative. But you know what? If Everton gets 3 points on Monday against Palace, Forest, it doesn't look like they're going to win tonight. Luton have already lost this weekend. Now, look, obviously they've got games next week, so as we all do. But Everton have still yet again got the chance to just stretch their wings a little bit and push on a little bit with the next 3 games. There's no reason with the way Everton are playing that they can't get 7 points. There's no reason they can't go and beat Palace at Goodison. There's no reason they can't get a draw at Brighton. There's no reason we can't beat West Ham. There's literally no reason. So go and do it. Go and do it. Go and get those 7 points again. And no matter what happens with this ruling, pull yourself clear of it again, because those teams at the bottom, they're all floundering. Sheffield United went to Luton today and won. Sheffield United look awful.
I think Luton, we're all waiting for their bubble to burst. Is this the start of it?
And it will burst. It will burst. And I've said this
to someone again today. Do you know if Ross Barkley gets an injury? I know they got beat today.
They're finished.
Luton are half the team if Ross Barkley gets injured.
Right, but people are clicking it now. People are watching Barkley and they're sticking 2 players on it. And that's what Sheffield United did today. They stuck 2 players on it. Killed him.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't bother me, Sheffield United winning. Really doesn't bother me. The main result today was Luton getting beat because they're the ones, and as you quite rightly say, Forest will probably get dragged into it. going back to what you've just said then about we've got a massive couple of weeks. I don't think we find out next week about the points deduction. I think we find out the week after. So this is a massive, massive 2 weeks in the history of Everton Football Club, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, and this is what, we've obviously got the second charge, and the second charge has to be concluded by this season. Now, if they say that Everton have got a 10-point deduction for the first charge and it is staying as it is, then we've got real problems, because we will be a championship team next season. I cannot imagine Everton getting a 20-point deduction potentially and staying up. But if you say to me, Mike, it's going to be 10 points, or maybe total it ends up as 12 points, I still think Everton stay up. I still think Everton stay up. I still am confident, because we seem to have found a way of getting something, and that's it. If you pick up enough draws, if Everton pick up, I think it's 17 draws now between the end of the season, Everton would stay up. Now, obviously, we win a few games and we'll lose a few games, but Everton have learned to keep clean sheets. They've learned to get draws. They've learned to win 1-0. That's what we just need to do. Just keep doing it at home.
I think it's going to be 5. I think it's going to be 5 and 5.
And for me, yeah, I do as well. And that means it is as we are. And if it is as we are, I'm convinced we're staying up. It has been the whole time.
But Forest lose 5. So if Forest lose 5, it puts them right in the mix.
Yeah, Forest will be in trouble if they get 5. But I still think Forest will stay up. I still am convinced that the 3 teams that come up will be the teams that go down. And that's that. I'm going to ask you one last question. It's really difficult, and me and you were trying to do it on the phone earlier, and I'm just wondering if your opinion's changed. But have you got a man of the match from today for Everton?
Struggling, and that's not because I'm disrespecting any player whatsoever. No, I can't give you one, because I actually didn't think any of them were poor, but I don't think any of them stood out.
Yeah, agreed.
I can't, because I'd be disrespecting the other 10 players if I give a man of the match. But I can't give a man of the match, because for the simple fact of the matter is I didn't think we played bad, and I didn't think we were brilliant. We done a job. So I can't.
Yeah, I agree. There was little moments for most players, certainly defensively, where I went, yeah, I like that. Mikalenko did a couple of things. I thought, yeah, that's good. But he also, some of his passing was shocking today. Braithwaite, before the 2 goals, I thought he was having a great game, and I probably would have given it to him. Just Tarkowski, I think he battled, he worked hard, but he's got a moment in him. And I thought Ben Godfrey, honestly, he looks like.
If I had to pick one, I'd give it to him. Because I thought up until him going off with the injury, I thought Doku struggled. And there was one just before half time where he put his body on the line and put himself in front of the ball and blocked the shot out for the corner.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one at a push, I'd probably give it to Ben Godfrey.
Yeah, and I wouldn't disagree with that. And I thought Ashley Young, bearing in mind he's like 50 million years old, I thought he did all right. Coleman, when he come on, he did all right. But again, we talk about profit and sustainability, John. You've got Everton, who had a £1 million centre-half pairing. You've got Manchester City that have got one player that was more than the entire Everton team today. I mean, the justification is fucking scandalous, and it rattles me. it absolutely rattles me. So, look, it is what it is. We've lost 2-0, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, if you get what I mean.
Well, the thing is, Michael, we've done videos on here where we've been 2-0 down and I've ranted and you've lost your shit or what have you. I don't feel like we can do that today because I don't feel like the team deserved that today. We take it, we move on. It was Man City away. I predicted a 2-0 loss. But the game's coming up and now we keep going on about that. We have to win them. The first half performance, the first 60, 70-minute performance today gives me confidence that we can get something against Palace and West Ham and Brighton and what have you. So that's why we're not too downhearted, and we've been a lot more downhearted on the videos than what we have been.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Right, we will leave it there. John, thank you ever so much for coming on as usual. Thank you for waiting for me, because that's what you've done today. You've waited. You've got yourself back from Manchester, and you've said, right, I'm gonna be ready. We're gonna do the debrief tonight, and John was there, ready to go. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Make sure you remember that we are the most emotional, I think that's fair to say, Everton fan channel on the platforms. I think that's fair to say. I mean, there's more polished ones, and some people have got better things, and some other channels are like try and reach you for loads and loads of money. But we're just two blokes that sit in front of a camera and we just talk about it.
I reiterate what Michael's just said. Michael probably won't like me saying this, but some certain channels need to stop getting splinters in their arse and stop sitting on the fence and be honest like we are. That's why people watch us. The comments are brilliant. To me, Michael, we're honest. We've seen it in the comments. Best fan channel out there because you say it how it is. Means the world to us. We are, as Michael's just said, we're honest, we're open, we take comments, we reply to them. Everyone's entitled to an opinion on this channel. That's what we are.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Right, we'll leave it there. Keep smiling, up the toffees, and we go again. We go again next week. Peace.
Cheers.